So let's start with how the film actually looked. Here's the couple of grabs from inside the car. I'm pretty pleased with them. And if I go on to this is the recce shot of the car. And we can see there was a huge reflection. So to go from this to this, I feel very pleased. Also, we can see that there's quite a lot of play here and also here and on her. So if we look at the other folder I've got open, which is what I took with the R6, so to stop that horrific reflection we saw in the recce photo, I've got this black, it's 4 foot by 6 foot frame with black cloth clamped on it, supported on 2 combo stands and scaffolding. And in terms of lighting the scene, I've got my 2 light panels reflecting this polyboard to try and just light them in the front, and then behind I've got the Aperture 600 creating that backlight on them. And when I actually shot it, I also put this Amazon or newer light panel here to give this modelling, and that was that setup. Under the board, light panel 600 and soft light coming in off the polyboard here. If we move on to the kitchen shot, I was quite pleased with this. Obviously it's not a cookery show, it's supposed to be a mildly uncomfortable drama. So I had the Aperture f21 at the top, and I've got that set on a very low saturation but green setting. Out of the frame over here I've got a Godox 200 bashed off the wall that's lighting her here. There was a window and I blocked that up with my 4x4 polyboard, and these lights under counter were actually in place. They're very old and they hadn't been switched on, so initially I started to try and rig something there, but what was in place was perfect. Let's have a look at the behind the scenes shot. So here we can see my F21, and this is my quite considerable boom. It's about 1.5 meters, which means that they can play without the light panel getting in shot. Moving on to this over the shoulder shot there, this is quite a tricky position because we've got 3 steps of light. He is illuminated by daylight, he's further back in, and she's somewhere in the middle. I think I had my 600 off here. I wonder if I had a reflection over. You can see there's a tungsten colour light here and a bit of fill coming in from that side. This is the opening shot of the film, or the opening shot in the timeline, and I wanted this slightly morning, and they're coming into an abandoned house, so I have a little bit of smoke going. We haven't got the best hazer, just a cheap smoke machine, and the Aperture 600 is outside, and I've taken the diffusion off and I've got it firing through the quarter straw to give this kind of morning feel. Pretty pleased with this. The rest of the light. I can remember that upstairs there was a Godox 200. There's a couple of light panels on a slightly warm setting over here. Whether there was something on my left as well, I can't remember. So I'm pretty pleased with that as a shot. Got this first scene kind of set up, scratched up. Monitors there. So it's just supposed to look boring, you know, like an old person's house. But we've got, this is on the dimmer, so it's controllable. I've got my Indy frame outside the window to control that, and we've got the Aperture 600 outside. There's one light panel Christmas tree. This is a lovely man who's helping. This shot in the living room. When I shot the other way, her shots, the Aperture 600 was in the window here, but for this shot I put the Aperture 600 outside there. I've got this lamp, so I had the tungsten bulbs and my dimmer that enables this to come very low, so it's not blowing out. So I'm pleased that that worked. I like this, and I think in the next room I had my light panels on a daylight setting, just bringing something in from that side. Without resetting the lights, it looks like this. This angle isn't particularly relevant to the story, but it's quite fun with the picture of Winston Churchill. This is him coming down from the upstairs in the hallway, which I've now relit. It's the Aperture 600s out there, and the light panels are here. This end of the film, I've got the 600 quite significantly far outside with the ball on, and in the next room behind this glass are my light panels on a daylight, on a tungsten or a slightly yellow setting. Let's have a look at the behind the scenes photos. Here's the Aperture 600 with the quarter straw filter. This is my camera department, 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes, and you see that they stack up to make quite a small space in the location. This is what I took from my camera table, which is the 4 V-locks. The battery set bag. I've brought my own extension lead so I can run it. This is my little Osmo that I do some of the behind the scenes shots. We've seen the F21 and this. This is Tess, that lovely director, and she's looking at my Atomos Shogun monitor in its plywood case. I think we've got this set very low like this because we're trying to keep the frame out of being seen in the car window. This is me operating the car shot. You see I've got the mat on the bonnet to protect it, the Apple box. So yes, it's handheld, but it's a pretty stable shot. That's a pillow. This is the interior office, and you can see the light coming through here. That's the Aperture 600 with the China ball on, creating this exterior light. I think we turned this down later because it's a tungsten, it had a dimmer. I could turn that around, and we filled on this side with the light panels. So that's these photos. Now here's the script, and here's the notes. I believe the car has stopped. Now this was important because of that rig. I was going to have to build over the car. That this was an important thing to check that the car wasn't going to drive into the beginning of the film. The hallway. Here the camera's inside and we see the bright world outside. This could need some lighting thought. So these shots across the front door are tricky to light. So this is some notes on the digital camera, and they had a lovely old Kodak camera that was 10-15 years old, so that looks great. I've made a note here that she's supposed to take a photo and there is a flash, and I'm making them aware that we could get flash banding. So this is an exterior of the house with the lights on indoors, and I've said interior needs to be brighter than outside, so this shot needs to happen early, and I did indeed pop that shot off while breakfast was being made. I've made a note here about keys jangling in his pocket and how that should be done as a separate take so it doesn't interfere with the dialogue, and the sound guy completely agreed that we want to get the scene as quiet as possible while he was doing the dialogue, and then record a couple of takes of jangling keys and footsteps and the like to be added later. Just making some notes that there's a mirror, the risk of seeing the crew and needing to sort of light the space more carefully. Vase, dulling spray. We did have a trophy or something that needed dulling spray down. More doorway action, which I'm noting is it just slows down the shooting. These blocking tests, are there any other relevant photos? Mainly it's all what we see here is this inside outside. So this is what it looks undressed before, and let's have a look at this. So if we look at, she's dressed all this and we've lit it, and that was the recce photo grabbed from the film. I'm quite pleased with that change. Not much else to see in the recce pictures. Again, some front door action.
Do it again.
Showing the contrast we had to work with. So that's that, and we can now cut into my Osmo filming. Some makes of apple boxes don't have the two holes like this, and if you want to get two full apples you can only do it like that. Even my hands wouldn't spread wider, so I like the traditional apple box configuration of holes. Auto poles on which are more fragile on top of the combo stands. All my C stands perfectly fit in the side of the van here, apart from this small rig. I don't know, it's got this silly sprung thing, so it just sticks out, which is pretty annoying. This is something cool I've just noticed, that my big box, which I'm taking because I might want to stand on it if I'm doing any over the shoulder looking at the phone shots. Anyway, this is my big plywood box. and I notice it fits my regular apple boxes in a fairly lovely manner, so that's quite exciting. The final lighting box, my F21 with its new Coloplast barn doors, 2 terrible Amazon panels, my Godox spotlight, Godox battery light. I call this 12 volt LED. It's not quite true, but all of the lights in here will run off V-lock. They have enough stuff to keep whole builds on standby. I've got my whole grip box, or the section that deals in 5/8 clamping, rather so that hopefully we don't have to rob any grip heads or such like between setups. It's going to be supposedly all handheld, but I've got my Miller Solo tripod with me. I can certainly see the opening shot being on sticks, and also I might do some cheaty handhelds where I'm actually going to lean on the tripod. I could do with buying maybe one of those cushions. There's a stupid amount of stuff for a small indie film and a tiny crew. Now, I guess the word is standby, so I have enough grip, I think, so that the 600, which will be in the garden or in the garage when we're not using it, will be on its combo stand. My interior key light is going to be the panels. They've got their own 40-inch C-stands. So basically, once it's built at that end, the large amount of kit is actually going to save. So on each shot there may not be a lot of gear in place, so on the interiors I may just have the 2 C-stands bashing the panels off the wall, or on some of the stuff with window light playing there may just be the 600 outside. So in each scene there will probably only be 2 or 3 fixtures or rigs going on, but when I'm not using some of those fixtures, they will just be, I think there's an unused spare bedroom or something on the ground floor, and also there's a garage near outside. So once it's all built up, we can hopefully move between scenes and setups in a very quick way. So I absolutely hope not to use all of the 1,000 items I'm taking with me on any specific scene or setup. Probably create howls of something. This is carrying the combo stand, and I've got a bit extended to bring the centre of gravity forward, and then I can hold it here like a suitcase. I don't like putting it on my shoulder because it's dangerous if someone were to come up behind me or if I swang round. So, while this may not be the most efficient way of carrying a combo stand, I feel it's safe and okay. I've also put it on the ground, which is also inefficient, but I don't like leaning them up in case someone or the wind knocks them over. So again, it's not the most efficient in terms of force equals mass times distance for moving stuff about, but it's safety first. Random lighting box, just kind of cherry picked from around my stuff. These practical bulbs, small clips, big clips, my dimmers, some extension leads or stingers, 2 wall plates, baby plates, few grip, few wedges, and a couple of bits of ply, low bowl 100mm head, aperture 600 there, and 4 more light panels in this one. Getting my long things ready to load into the van. C stands, there's more than that. This is the boom for the F21, newly upgraded. Couple of auto poles, 5/8 rod, and a 1.5 meter or 1 meter piece of scaffolding that might be used if I were wanting a over table camera rig or something, which is not predicted at this point. Yeah, here's a one with a bit of warmth on it, and the script talks about morning, so it might be that this on the app 600 can create that morning glow. I think I'm done with loading the lighting gear and grip. These are my two. This is the Indy sheet that I built because we might shoot against the window and it might be useful. And here's my regular 4x4 poly. I tried to touch up with black paint, but it's obviously going to need a proper coat. It's looking a bit scruffy, so sorry about that. I always put the pokey end in so that when people open the back door they're not presented with the spigot. Morning glow is going in there as well. There's a 4-box camera department. Lenses. Canon C200. V-locks. Director's monitor and operator's monitor. Pretty minimal, honest gov. I just got space for a personal box here, hard drive, card reader, toothbrush. Packing up to DOP this short film. This is one box ready. Canon C200, the main lens is the 1835. My new follow focus I've been working on, top handle, and that's the Canon monitor, Canon BPA batteries in case the power messes up, 2 monitor leads. The second box is my Shogun monitor and a Feel World monitor. See, Feel World, that's going to be my operator monitor. Now the C200 doesn't, which is a Super 35, doesn't really sing very well with my lens collection. It works better for corporate and car shooting and stuff, but for the very wide open indie drama look, this Sigma zoom lens is going to be actually hopefully giving most of the look. But I have got some manual glass that I'm taking with me. There's a bit of shooting of pictures, looking at pictures in picture frames, and also screens of the laptop and maybe some jewelry and such like. So this is my 200mm manual focus Nikon manual. That's my 28-85 zoom, which won't be coming. My Mamiya 80mm, which can be free lensed, and that would be come into play if there's any dream sequences or very confusing where we really want a blurred, terrible image. This is perfect for blurred and terrible. And I know there's one shot that needs to be a little shocking. Nikon 105-25. I don't really see any telephoto work on this film, but as ever, 2.5 look alright on S35, and it's good to have. 24 2.8, and really I don't think this will get used at all. It's more if the Sigma zoom somehow becomes super annoying or its electrical contacts fail or such like, then that 24 2.8 will be adequate but not super cool. 55 macro, also giving more options for shooting the photos in frames and jewelry and anything like that that comes into the story. The hilarious EF Nifty 50, which could be an autofocus classic if there's a bit of moving around and we want a slightly telephoto look on the Super 35. For 100 grams it's worth taking. The main wide GV lens would be my this is my Nikkor 14 2.8, which 2.8 gives a little bit of a cinematic narrow depth of field look on S35, and 14mm is a reasonable field of view. So this is my planned lens for the masters, as they call them, and the not planned lens for when we're in a more tight environment than I'm expecting. This is the Canon 10-22 3.5, not very cinematic looking. Really, it's just if we get in a bad corner we might need that 10mm, so that'll come. And somewhere else is my Nikkor 50 manual that will come along as it always comes along. My 4-up BPU charger going there, 4-up V-Lock charger going. This set bag will be full of V-Locks, basically D-tap extensions, D-tap to USB, D-tap splitter. So I think that's my camera department boxes: batteries, lenses, camera, monitor and director's monitor.